If you own an investment apartment, you may often have wondered about it, landlord insurance, or have lots of questions about it, like what is it, do I need it, and how much is it? My name is Andrew Wood from Wood Property, and I am not an insurance broker. I'm not qualified to provide insurance advice. So please speak to a direct insurance broker and get direct advice. However, I'm going to keep this there for very high level so I don't get myself into trouble and say anything that I shouldn't. However, apartment insurance or landlord insurance is reasonably unique because in an apartment building, let's say this is the apartment building, let's say this is your apartment here, there is an owner's corporation that will have an insurance cover, or body corporate or strata manager, whatever you want to call them, that will have an insurance cover over the entire building. And this covers for replacement or reinstatement of that building as well as public liability insurance. But as an owner, you're responsible for things inside your apartment and especially actions by your tenant. So landlord insurance covers things or actions in relation to your tenant for you. So I'm just going to go through them quickly. The first one, which is pretty obvious, is in relation to damage. So this is really could be a number of different damage. Could be intentional damage by your tenant, accidental damage by your tenant. And yes, there's a bond, but often that damage will exceed the cost or the amount of the bond. Then there's other general damage like fire or floods or storm or that sort of thing, or pet damage in relation to that property. And landlord insurance is there to protect you for that. The next one is loss of rent. Now, with a tenant paying rent in there, if something happens where the rent stops, so there could be because of works that are required to rectify your apartment, because of some damage or some event, and the tenant needs to move out, then that rent is covered by your insurance policy. Similarly, a tenant may, for some reason, not be able to pay the rent and stop paying the rent, and as you're working through the eviction process, you're covered by insurance for that loss of rent. The other one is legal. Both legal expenses and legal liabilities. So obviously there's sometimes legal expenses in recovering rent and those sorts of things, but additionally, if some action from your tenant causes a leak down through the building, they flood a bath or something, then the owner of this property is therefore via their tenant responsible for the damage that causes, and that is covered under the legal liability of landlord insurance. So that's what it is. Do you need it? Well, it's really a personal question. It's basically your appetite for risk and whether you're prepared to carry those risks within the building or for your apartment, including the loss of rent. But it's important to get present as to what those costs are so you can make an informed decision. In relation to how much is it, well, it depends from insurance provider to insurance provider. It is also important to organise your landlord insurance through your managing agent. Wood Property are accredited agents with certain insurance providers, and therefore they can get you a specific premium as the insurance provider takes comfort that and has ratified that Wood Property's processes and procedures meet their needs. So for landlord insurance in Victoria for apartments, through Wood Property, it is slightly less than about $500. So whether it's worth it, that's up to you. Given all the risks, $500 seems like a reasonable investment. That is actually per annum or per year that you required to pay that premium. So that's landlord insurance, what it is at a very high level. Do you need it? It's not compulsory, totally up to you. Sometimes a finance or a lender might require you to have it in place. And then how much is it? As I mentioned, under $500. If you'd like to know more about it or organise landlord insurance for your apartment, please contact me, Andrew Wood at Wood Property, and be very happy to help. I hope that helps.